kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying?
This video was inspired by a rather gruesome news story where an ex-cop kills his ex-wife with an axe in front of his ex-mother-in-law. And then he goes after the mother-in-law. I think the mother-in-law survived, though. I'm just going to play a little bit of footage from that because that's just entirely too gruesome for me to put a lot of attention of it here. So let's take a very, very brief look.
Mark Owens is a former husband and a former cop. But tonight he's an inmate, and he's facing charges of hacking his ex-wife to death with an axe in broad daylight, right in front of the neighbors and right in front of her mother. It was the screams that brought out the neighbors, and what they witnessed and what they heard will stay with them forever.
I saw a man, and I saw him swinging something. I didn't know what it was. It could have been a bat. And so I got in my car because I thought it was my friend. So I got in the car, and I got about right where we had when I realized what he had in his hand. It was an axe. And I saw what he was doing, what he was doing with it.
Police say Mark was likely hiding under Kimberly Owens' house when she came out to her car to head for work. She was set upon with an axe, and she was hit so many times that she died right there in the street. Her mother saw almost the whole thing, and police say she begged for him to stop. They also say he appeared to go after the mother, too, who ran back into the house to call 911.
I did not find any self-defense against an axe routines in the Taekwondo manual written by General Choi. So maybe Cecil Taekwondo can come up with defenses against the axe. But I did find some of these things to use against a bayonet and a pole and a club, which are similar in shape to an axe. So right here, if somebody's going to slash you with a bayonet, you go into a guarding block. Then basically he wants you to move in and grab the barrel of the bayonet before they can really swing it out at you, and then go for the eyes with one of your free hands as soon as you can. I guess I could believe that. Now, the purposes of this news story, though, this is the thing. We have a male against a female. So if for a woman to do this, I think a woman could do this, but I think what she should do is lock out her arms completely when she's trying to grab the barrel. And that adrenaline under there may help too. Now you see where his foot is? See where his foot is down there? I think a strike to spleen 6, especially if it's a woman, as soon as she gets a hold of that barrel, hit spleen 6 a couple of times. On the inside of the lower leg, and I think that might loosen him up. That may give him lower his energy and his focus, if nothing else, for there to be an attack to the eyes. Now, this one is defense against a club. Excuse me. Because I couldn't find anything about an axe. So, the person is trying to strike you to the head. What they don't say is for you to get off the line of the attack. So, get out of the way of the attack and then do a side kick to the floating ribs. That I could see, but I wouldn't stop at just one kick. I would kick until they're down, okay? Now here, we've got, where's this? Inward strike towards the head. You're gonna have to have a pretty powerful knife hand block. Now what they're not really detailing, but I can see here, what they're not accenting, it looks like that knife hand block is delivered to pericardium 6 pressure point. If you don't know where pericardium 6 is, look it up. It's like a hole that's on the middle of the inside of the wrist. That's the easiest way to describe it. So he's striking there, and then he's going to reverse punch to the face. Now, you see this right here? If you're using a club, that's fine. But remember, an axe is going to have a little bit more of a blade to it. So if you stop it that late, you still might get hit with the blade. So if you were going to use this one against an axe, I think you have to change the angle of your attack a little more so that you're not straight in front of them, that you're still more at a 45 to get away, and then try to do the punch to the face. Okay. And if you don't go down from one punch, go down for several. Now you see how he's punching in the nose? I would punch there or to the side of the nose or even to the throat while yelling ki and punching like a madman and making sure you trap that arm out. See, his arm is bent. If it's a female, her arm probably would have to be locked here again. Okay. Now here's another one for the club defense. Someone's trying to swing it at your neck. Move the left foot to the rear, forming an L stance, and then punch him in the ribs. This upset punch is basically being delivered to the floating ribs. Okay. Now here's one I would not recommend for anybody, even though there's probably somebody that could do it. I wouldn't recommend this. So they're trying to strike at you to the ribs. What they don't tell you to do first is to get off of the line of the attack and then do a flying side kick. Yeah, okay. You know what? I'm saying that now, and knowing me, I might end up doing that one day under adrenaline if somebody comes after me. Because I do stuff like that. Here we have against a pole, because again, I couldn't find anything for an axe. Okay? This one I could actually see a female doing against a male. He's trying to strike at you to the ribs with the pole. This will work too, I think. Basically, you're going to duck down and kick at the ribs with the ball of the foot. Now, if you would use ball of the foot in a self-defense situation, why are we teaching top of the foot for sparring? I know, because it hits easier. That's why I don't teach my students to kick with the top of the foot. So just train that habit, and then gosh darn it, if you have to spar in a tournament or something, use a thing called control. Remember control? Okay, this pole jam. And a lot of people say this is an application for the double open hand block that's going off to the sides at the end of, what form is that? I think it's at the end of June Goon. They call it stick block. Use it to block a stick. I've never seen anybody attack anyone with a stick like that. But you could use that to jam an axe, I think. So, depending on how big the axe is. If it's a small handheld axe, you probably want to do something more like a club thing. So you're basically going to jam it and then twist it in their arms. I would not recommend that for a woman against a man, though. Not unless she's, struck him on the insides of the legs, the various pressure points of maybe spleen 10, spleen 11, or going at the knee first. And then went at the eyes and then wrestled the weapon away. Okay? Because usually with an axe, they're going to be trying to just chop you with the blade part of the axe. Okay? Now, if you were lucky to get in close enough before they could chamber the thing to swing down like they're chopping a log, this might work. So you'd have to imagine that the end of the blade is right here. And then you jam it up there. So you'd have to say the blade is here, and you jam it before they get it up to swing at you and hit them in the eye. That could work if against if it's a female defending herself against a male, because he doesn't have the full extension of his muscles yet. The muscles haven't gotten in motion. Now this one, attacking the legs, side piercing kick while jumping. So if he swings it at his legs, you jump over the weapon and kick him. That would take a lot of skill. And that's another one I would tell you to practice it. But I would tell you that might take too much skill for most people. So yeah, a little too involved, even if it might possibly work. Okay. That's the closest thing I could find in my little library of stuff that you could possibly do if you're attacked by an axe. So I don't have anything really written. I may troll the internet, scour the internet, well, maybe some trolling too, to see what is out there for self-defense against an axe. And if I can find it, I'll make it a part 2 to this video. And this leads me to believe that I need to write up some self-defense moves against axes, because people can be killed by an axe.
Don't have to make a part 2. I'll probably will just make another video once I get around to it. But Nick Drosis has a video on YouTube that talks about self-defense against an axe. So a lot of it is similar to what I was saying, but with one thing he added in that I forgot about is the part of defending against some type of attack like an axe, a wild attack with a weapon, where what do you do if it misses you and it comes across, how you can come back in and jam the arm and keep it from coming back across. Or how you can time it so that if they miss, you come in up here, before they can retract to come back at you, you come in with your counterattack. So it's very interesting, and it's worth watching. So I would say watch this and watch his. And at some point in the future, I'm going to have to add some type of axe defense to my curriculum. Peace.